should at least be one bit of good news, because this country has oil and Western companies are keen to exploit it. But we've come here to try and find out whether the oil that the West wants is actually helping to fuel a conflict which kills more than 3,000 civilians every year. We were in the oil fields of northern Colombia. General Carlos Lemus took me above what he said was a battlefield. Down below, rebels are fighting to control a pipeline carrying oil for the United States. Oil has brought war to this part of Colombia. Can you explain in military terms, is it a vulnerable target? Is it an easy thing to hit?
Es casi imposible lograrlo porque, en primer lugar, la extensión es demasiado.
He's saying that it's virtually impossible to militarily defend the pipeline because it's such a long pipeline, and also because the terrain here is so difficult. It's sort of rainforest, and it's very, very hard militarily to safeguard, pretty well impossible to safeguard the pipeline.
Eso obligó a tomar.
Suddenly our interview ended. We heard the pipeline had been blown up 60 miles away. They said they'd take us there. To keep the oil flowing to the outside world, the Colombian army must repair the pipeline faster than the rebels can blow it up. You can see the crater just down there. It's where the rebels attacked just a few minutes ago. And already there's a huge oil stain on the countryside. Already this year, the rebels have hit the line more than 120 times. At a clearing in the forest, a team of explosives experts joined us. We realized we were going in with the first troops to secure the area the rebels had attacked. We were dropped a few kilometers from the explosion.
Estoy QSL, cambio. Entonces espero ir a luz verde.
We're having to wait here because there's one group of men gone ahead of us trying to secure the area. And this is a group of D-miners. There are a lot of mines left usually, and they're going to try and find out where they are.
Explosivos, guerrilla esperando.
An army captain warned us the rebels often ambush troops or plant booby traps.
Asegurar. Y lo que haya se lleva a los mineros, por eso se llevan a los mineros, para cubrir bien la reparación y que salga un éxito.
The oil companies think there may be 1.5 billion barrels of undiscovered reserves around here. 2.5 million barrels have already been wasted, spilled into the farmland. It's absolutely full of oil. The whole river, it's black with oil. I think we're really close to the spill now. The soldiers thought the rebels might be lying in wait for them. They said that this area was peaceful before the pipeline was built. The rebels came because of the oil. We're just in the middle of a field and absolutely everything's black. And that's a crater over there. The rebels had dug down to the buried pipeline to plant their explosives. They've cleared this for mines, have they? And if there are plastic mines without metal in, have they cleared that? Nobody seems sure. Okay, I'm going to tread in those footsteps there. There it is. This is the hole that we saw from the egg, and it didn't look much from the air, it just looked like a little black patch, but from here, it's a complete disaster. It's sprayed everything. It just shows how easy it is to blow up this pipeline. You can see behind me, that's the contour of the pipeline in the land. It's really easy to spot where it is for the rebels. And it's 800 kilometers long, so a handful of rebels can run rings around the entire Colombian army. Nearby was an abandoned house. The soldiers thought they spotted rebels hiding in the wood behind. They set off to flush them out. No, I don't want you to go down there. Take one of the guys and go back along the path and keep in the way. We weren't sure what we were getting into.
Grabar a ellos el registro a fuego.
The soldiers were almost casual. For them, this was routine.
Contra la mano.
We shouldn't be in this area, we should be the other side of the house. And we should be walking in their footsteps. The soldiers are a bit worried because the people who should be in that house have fled. They're probably expecting there to be some sort of firefight tonight. So we headed for a farmhouse where there were people. The soldiers said the rebels don't shoot at houses with civilians in. A family home became an army barracks. The oil spill had poisoned their well. Soon they'd have to abandon their farm. They let us film, but they asked us not to use their names. They said since oil brought the war here, people die, and nobody knows why. The old man of the family has told us that the rebels were there for 3 days and these people had no one to turn to. They couldn't ask for help anywhere and they just had to let the rebels blow up the pipeline. Nearby, I met one of their neighbours, another farmer. He agreed to talk to me, but only if he could stay on his mule. He said that out in the fields he always rode. That way a mine explosion would kill the mule instead of him. None of us can escape the war, he said. What has the oil pipeline produced?
Nada.
Nothing, they said. They told me the attacks on the pipeline poisoned their soil, and their cattle got sick when they drank the water. Soon the repair crew were on the scene. Despite their efforts, the pipeline only works 1 day in 5. The oil belongs to the State Oil Company and to Occidental Petroleum, an American company. Colombian reserves may not be huge, but as the Middle East becomes more unstable, the United States is desperate for the oil on its doorstep. Both sides have got this down to a T. This lot are going to finish repairing the pipeline in about another day. That's all it's taken. Probably in another 1 or 2 days, the rebels are going to come back and blow it up again. It was time to leave. Our destination was the town that's the centre for oil exploration around here, Aruaca. Oil has brought wealth to Aruaca, but it's attracted the rebels. You don't see them, but they influence everything. The mayor, Jorge Cedeno, was surrounded with armed men. He said he always travels in a bulletproof car. You have a lot of bodyguards. You have some very big men with guns looking after you.
It's because security.
Security.
Personal security.
He took us to the waterworks. The town's got no drinking water because the attack on the pipeline poisoned the Aruaca River. The oil seems to pay for and run everything around here. Does the oil pay for and run the war?
Yo creo que sí. Yo creo que sí porque
Yes, he said. For example, when the rebels blow up the pipeline, afterwards they often extort money from the repair companies. What's more, they do the same on some of the building projects paid for by oil money. Anyone who argues risks death. The rebels get involved in everyone's business. We heard there's a big argument about Coca-Cola coming into Aruaca. Is that true?
Yeah. La guerrilla
Sí.
no deja pasar la Coca-Cola para acá porque quiere que la Coca-Cola o Postobón le pague un impuesto.
So the rebels are blockading Coca-Cola from coming into town because they want Coca-Cola to pay them some extortion, but the company's saying no. So you can't get any Coke around here. You can't get any Coca-Cola around here.
Only water.
Only water. Well, you can't even get water. Colombia's civil war started long before oil. The rebels say they want the poor to get a fairer deal. But the oil money they extort also helps fund their war in this region. The rebels wouldn't talk, but they sent me a communiqué. The local radio station ran it as a news flash.
Mucha atención que tenemos información de última hora desde el Centro Regional de Noticias de Radio Net y Canal Caracol en Arauca. El bloque oriental de las
The rebels said they opposed foreign multinationals exploiting the oil, but they didn't answer my questions about how they used oil money to pay for their war. We left Aruaca. Our destination, a town called Barranca in the south. The rebels controlled it for years. But in December, a shadowy force of right-wing paramilitaries threw them out. The lure was the country's biggest oil refinery. Oil should have brought riches to the people of Barranca. Instead, it's brought fear and death. Look at that. In the news, this is the morning newspaper, and on page 9, there's a death list printed in the paper. About 30 people, an electrician, a hairdresser. Number 3 on the list is Francisco Jose Campo. He's a member of CRADOS, which is a human rights organization, and I'm going to go and try and find him. The paramilitaries were started by rich landowners to protect their business interests, but nobody can control them. No sign. All I know about this group is that they're a human rights organisation. They're pretty hard to find. There's no sign on the door. They don't advertise their presence, but I think this is it. Francisco Campo told me the paramilitaries want to kill him as part of what they call social cleaning. What is social cleaning? What does it mean? What's happened here?
Sí, limpieza social significa eliminación física.
He says it means killings, disappearances, displacement of people, all this for the people who don't fit in with the way that the paramilitaries would like things to be. The paramilitaries have sent him written warnings. It says,
We are carrying out this cleaning for the future of Colombia, because if we eliminate these people, we can build the country that we want. We have in our possession a cleaning list, and we give notice to those sons of bitches, guerrillas, that if they don't leave, we'll kill them.
Han sido asesinados selectivamente aproximadamente 400 personas.
I can hardly believe this. He says they're talking about 400 people being assassinated in the last 6 months in this town. And he says that the people who are suffering most are young men, young girls who may be involved in prostitution will be targeted, anyone of a different sexual orientation, homosexuals, human rights workers, unionists, anyone the paramilitaries just decide they don't like. A Kratos worker brought a mother into their office. A few days ago, her son had criticised the paramilitaries in front of friends. Now he'd disappeared, and no one had seen a thing. The paramilitaries may have made things safer for oil, but she tells me nobody here feels safe. She asked us not to use her name. How many members of your family have you lost? Who have you lost from your family?
¿Quiénes fueron? Evelio, Pablo, Leonardo, Lucía.
6 of her family had already been murdered or disappeared. Now her son.
Ellos 4 fueron matados.
She says she's been to the police, to the Red Cross, to the morgue. She hasn't heard anything, but she says people disappear here and you never know. You never know what's happened to them. You never find out.
Esperamos a ver qué nos.
She says, we wait and hope. They've taken everything. Our family.
Se acaba todo. La familia.
People told us Barranca could be as rich as Kuwait. Instead, they live in a town where paramilitaries dismember their victims with chainsaws. You see that? That headline, cleaning, social cleaning in the land controlled by the paramilitaries. And that's social cleaning. That is social cleaning. There are 321 official victims of social cleaning in this city alone since January. We've been here for 3 days and we can't find a single witness to any of those killings prepared to come and talk to our camera. What they have told us is that one woman who did dare to testify was dragged out of her place of work by 2 men on a motorbike and killed by them in the street in front of everybody. Late at night, we joined a police patrol. In theory, the police arrest both rebels and paramilitaries. They said that on average they're shot at 3 times a week. But they weren't policing the paramilitaries. Instead, they took us to hunt some of the few remaining rebels. We have to be alert because somebody can shoot.
We have to be very careful because there is a danger to be
Shot at.
shot, right?
The stakes are high in Barranca because of oil. It's the country's biggest legal export. The police say the rebels threaten it. We've moved out of the town into the countryside. Apparently this is a very dangerous area because there are not only paramilitaries but also rebels here. And the soldiers say that this spot particularly is a spot where they're often shot at from those houses up there. It's too risky to stay for long. We were told to leave, and quickly. Back in the city, the police pointed out paramilitaries to us, but they didn't try to arrest them. Barranca's streets were quiet because the paramilitaries had crushed all opposition, and the police weren't going to take them on. I visited Colonel Jose Miguel Villa, the chief of police. He told me only rebels and rebel sympathizers were being killed. Human rights workers, homosexuals, kids who are selling, marijuana on the streets. How can these be sympathizers of the guerrillas? There's something surely much more serious and disturbing going on here.
No, pues en cuanto a los homosexuales, pues la verdad si no.
He told me, I really don't know about the homosexuals. But as for the prostitutes, well, most of them were the girlfriends of rebels. And the paramilitaries are well aware of that. As for human rights workers, he said, the truth is they're just a cover for the rebels. Whenever the forces of law and order try to arrest the rebels, so-called human rights workers come out and try to defend them. But they never try to defend the paramilitaries. The truth, he said, is there isn't any social cleaning here. As we left Colombia, we drove through a countryside at war. The pipeline had been attacked again. There was one last place I wanted to see, the graveyard for blown-up oil pipes. Each piece a farm destroyed, a river poisoned, or a life lost. The West benefits from Colombia's oil. Its true price is counted not just in dollars, but in human misery.